Shalom royalty, it's Ellie here, Sovereign Empress, and I know that usually on Saturdays I do nature videos, but I'm going to show you guys why I am not in nature today. So this is my view. It's snowing, there is icicles hanging from the trees, from our roof, and so it's just a lot of coldness going on. And so I just wanted to share with you guys, it reminds me of this time last year. Around this time last year, COVID-19 was an epidemic in China. And around this time is when it started to become a pandemic all around the world. And that is when the government decided to lock us all down. Well, here in my city, we're on lockdown because God said so. We have ice everywhere. People are staying home. A lot of people haven't been to school or to work for a few days now. And so that's God's lockdown and not man's lockdown. And I feel like there might be another situation kind of like this. And the thing is, this lockdown's peaceful. We get to look outside. It's beautiful outside. Even though it's freezing, it's still beautiful. And it's God's glory. And there's no one to blame for the situation. There's no man-made diseases hurting people, and it's just really peaceful. And it's really funny too. It didn't snow that much in my city around Christmas, so I was joking around saying it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. And it's Valentine's Day, so it's real interesting how our lives are right now. And how the phrase lockdown is common and it's no longer, something that wouldn't be used. It's a common phrase that is now being used. And I would like for people to, understand that we really had this time. It's been a year now, just about. We've had this time to connect with the Lord, to connect with the Most High, to understand things a lot better. In the past year, I learned that there's 4 different years, 4 different ways to tell time as far as it being a year. So the Hebrew or Jewish New Year is in September. And there's a big thing coming this year. I forgot what it's called, but it's September 7th for the Hebrew New Year. I forgot what it's called, but it's something really, really big coming. Luke Harding made a video about it, and I know Kay Nash, she was really one of the people to really break down the Hebrew New Year. I learned from some Hebrews, but they didn't go into depth about what everything meant. They just kind of knew some dates, and they didn't know the backstory of how things were. But regardless, though, Luke Harding and Kay Nash, they gave a lot of insight in their videos about it. Of course, I already knew about our New Year, the worldwide calendar, January to December. I already knew about Lunar New Year, but I didn't pay much attention to it until probably a couple years ago. So happy Lunar New Year. That was yesterday. February 12th. And of course, I already knew about the astrological New Year, but I hadn't learned the zodiac signs like I know the months. I recently learned that. And so, it's kind of cool. I want to learn the Hebrew New Year. So as y'all know, Aries is pretty much equivalent to Abib in the book of Exodus. So that time frame, the beginning of spring. So it's like that March, April time. So it's spring, March, April, which is also Aries, which is equivalent to the time of Abib, according to what I read in Exodus. So, of course, fact check me if you have anything to dispute that with, any scriptures. I don't want to hear anything else besides scriptures as far as Abib, because I already know it's a fact that Aries is, March, April. That's not something you can dispute that with. But if I am biblically incorrect, please correct me as far as, the correct time frame of Abib. But from my understanding, it is That's the beginning of the year. Spring is the actual beginning of the year, not winter, because winter is the end of the year. You know, it doesn't really make sense for us to begin and end a year in the same season. But that's just how our stuff's set up as of right now, you know. But anyway, I really want you guys to have a great ending of this cycle. I did make a video about us ending Pisces season in the best light possible. We are in a season of rest. We are in a season of patience. And while we can be like, go, 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 I'm under God's lockdown right now. So I couldn't do anything right now if I wanted to. And I think that's beautiful. Like sometimes God really just calls us to just sit down and chill. Like, you know, the man has so many expectations for what we're supposed to be doing. And I constantly forget the position I'm in. I always think that I'm like a 40-year-old CEO founder who has to be busy, busy, busy all the time. And I forget that I'm a 20-something-year-old influencer who's getting back on her feet and getting out of a committed relationship and with a child. So it's just a lot going on for me. And not to say that a 40-year-old person couldn't, you know, struggle the way I'm struggling. It's just they've already had more time to be established and I don't have time. I have experience and now I'm using that experience to get back on my feet. So, you know, that is a blessing as well. And that's what God really wants us to focus on. It's just like, okay, take all the lessons from last year, which I already did. I saw like a lot of the things that happened in 2020 are repeating. If you guys didn't see it, it happens every year. And that's because the way that the energies work, the way that the cycles work is the way people feel. That's consistent. Okay. Versus, you know, some actions repeat, but the way people feel, that's always like the same. So around Christmas time, people are usually extremely happy or extremely sad because they have family to spend time with or they don't have family to spend time with. Valentine's Day is either super depressing or super loving. If you have somebody to be with, you're super happy. If you are lonely, then you're sad. I'm not lonely. I'm cool with my relationship situation because, you know, I'd much rather be alone and happy than with somebody and to be toxic and unhappy. So, you know, I broke out of that construct where people really be needing relationships out here. And I was like, wow, I've never really felt like I needed a relationship or needed a person to be with all the time. I love being in a committed relationship. That is probably, you know, the best thing ever outside of my relationship with God. And that's, I mean, God loves marriage, but you have to be evenly yoked with the person. You can't just be with a body just because they're there. You know, you have to be providing each other equal spiritual value. And that's also another concept that people get misconstrued. Like, a man doesn't have to come with a certain amount of pockets and a woman doesn't have to come with a certain body type. As long as you guys are fulfilling each other spiritually, physical things don't really matter. Of course, the man is the head of the household. He's supposed to be the main provider if both are working. But I love being at home and working at home when I wanted to, which is what I continue to do. But I have to take it to another level to where I am creating passive income instead of active income. But if I decide, not if, I do want to get remarried, but when I do decide to get into another committed relationship, it's not going to be where it's like we're both dependent on each other. It's just he takes care of the bills and I have extra money. Yeah. Like that's the norm. Not norm. Like people are saying it's new now where people have to like split bills and stuff. And it's like, yeah, see, I'm a Hebrew and even the Brews know that that's not right. It's like, you know, you got to step your game up. If you're going to decide to have kids, you're going to decide to be with a woman. Like you really have to step your game up. That's me getting a little sidetracked. But yeah, we are transitioning into spring, and I'm so excited. I got my little area where I'm going to have my garden set up. What I did was I took my son's old kiddie pool and I put down some cardboard, and now I'm just like throwing old fruits and vegetables in there whenever as like compost, so it'll break down or whatever on top of the cardboard. And then we're going to put soil on top of that and then plant our seeds. And so I'm super excited about that. We had the garden a little while ago, about a couple years ago, and it was cool. We grew a squash and we grew a small watermelon, and we had a bunch of mint leaves. Dude, I would make mint tea and it was bomb. It was like mint tea, some mint lemonade. Let me see what else. We had some basil leaves. Like, man, it was dope. The only thing that like I was really excited about growing and it never grew was tomatoes. I was like, why are my tomatoes not growing? We had like a little spud and it didn't finish. It shriveled up. I was like, for real? So I'm gonna try again this year. And it's not even a thing where it's like, oh, what if it fails? It's like, nah, we learned from last time. That's really what God wants us to understand. It's not just, us doing stuff. You learn from your mistakes and you do better the next time. My son's really excited. He's watching some hamsters run in a in a little hamster wheel thingy, and he's running with him. And so yeah, that we're in this recycling of knowledge period. Recycling of knowledge. Ooh, that's cool. I like that. That might be the title of the video. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Royalty is Sovereign Empress here. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. All praises to the Most High. Shalom. I'll see you in the next one.